Want to do a quick video here in relation to voltage across the cell versus production. So I got this slightly inaccurate flow meter here, and I'm going to be pulsing it at 838 hertz, 74% duty cycle. Here's my amp meter going into the inductor, so it's effectively going into my cells. And this is voltmeter across the cell. This is my volts and amperage input to the system. So we're going to start by turning this up to about 5 volts.
In this series of videos, I document my progress on unlocking the secrets of Stanley A. Meyer. For over a decade, I've studied and replicated the devices of Stanley Meyer, specifically the water fuel cell, a device that splits water into hydrogen and oxygen for use as a combustible fuel. Here, I discuss water fuel cell theory in hopes of connecting with other like-minded individuals to unlock the secrets. This is Stan's Revenge.
About 5 volts right there. That's the waveform. And you can see, very little milliamperage going across the cell. We've got about 40 volts, give or take, 37 volts, at 5 volts input. You can see here just barely any production being made. So we're going to take this, let's see here, not even 0.1 amp of consumption, 100 milliamps of consumption here, under a watt. We're going to take this up to 10 volts, consuming about 3.5 watts now. Our amp across the cell goes to about 30 milliamps. Let me change the range on this too, just to make sure we're accurate. Okay. About 80 volts across the cell right now, and just barely a little bit more production. Really nothing accumulating yet, bubble-wise. We're going to take this up to 15 volts. That brings our amp through the cell at about close to 300 milliamps. 115 volts across the cell, and we've got substantial production here. We have no movement on our indicator, as you can see. Alright, bubble wise, just a couple bubbles here and there. We're going to take it up to the next level here, and we're going to crank it up to 20 volts. We're now up to 600 milliamps going across those cells, and 138 volts. And you can see right here, blow, we've got substantially more production, and that bead is just beginning to bob. That's our gas production there. Taking it a step further, we're going to take it up to 25 volts. So now we're consuming about 160 watts. We've got about 1 amp traveling into our inductors. We've got 160 volts across the cell. And now we have a lot more production. You can see that we're now topping just that 100 mark. And you can see we have substantial production. Now we go just a little bit further here. We're going to go up to 30 volts. Now we're consuming 275, maybe 280 watts. We've got 1.4 amps moving across these cells, but you can see they are just puking. We are well above that 100 mark now. And you can see we are just gurgling. 178 volts, almost 180 volts across the cell. consuming 280 watts now, total power input. So what I want to get at here is I want to make a little graph of how much power we're consuming versus input to the system versus voltage versus production, and see if there is an exponential effect there as opposed to a linear effect. If that's the case, more voltage we go higher, exponentially more production being made. Man, look at those puppies. We are just gurgling here. Alright, better shut this guy off since we're inside here. But there we go.
This is Stan's Revenge.